Go live. All right, we are live. I'm going live on Instagram tonight as well. So good to see you guys tonight. I'm trying some different things out. Got a new background. Can't tell me nothing. How are y'all doing tonight? 9 o'clock, continuing the conversation on grief. So, Therapy Thursdays. My job right now is to be able to really just be present, show up, continue to be consistent. That's really what I'm working on in my life right now, is just to be present, to continue being consistent in every single thing I do, from doing the Therapy Thursdays to working out, everything, y'all, everything. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, there is something about showing up for yourself that is so beautiful. It is so easy for us to show up for everybody else. But when it comes time to do the things that we're supposed to do, it's difficult for us to show up for ourselves. So I want to just, I want to be just more active and showing up for myself. And before we get started on continuing the conversation on grief, I want you guys to comment and let me know, in what ways are you trying to show up for yourself? In what ways are you trying to be present and do what you need to do to live your dreams, to live the best life for you, to live a healthy life, to live a long life? What are you trying to do in order to do that? And so, um, yeah, I'm just trying to be present. Like I said, I struggle with going to bed on time and getting up. That's one of my biggest struggles. But I know that I'm gonna get it. I know that if I keep trying, I'm gonna get it. If I keep trying to say, all right, I'm gonna go to bed right now, 10, 11. A lot of times after the lives, like, I'm just so excited and pumped up about what God is doing, and I just get overjoyed about just sharing a message of hope to other people. Hey, Bittersweet, good to see you. What's going on? I appreciate the love. Thank you for joining. This is my first time going live on Instagram as well, but so I'll be looking back and forth today. But yeah, so who is in the chat with me tonight? How are y'all doing? What's been going on? We are continuing the conversation on grief. And so if you do want to catch the replay of these lives, they are all on YouTube, and I will definitely link I'll link my information to the YouTube channel below. Hey Sasha, how you doing? What's going on? Let's see who else is in here. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. But like I said, yeah, it's one of the things that I'm really working on is showing up for myself in every single way, from healthy eating to working out to everything. Like I said, it's a struggle for me to go to bed because I work so hard during the day. I'm seeing clients from 9 to 5, and sometimes with no breaks. And so at the end of the day, I want to, talk to my family. I want to spend time with them. Now, Belle goes to bed faithfully. Whether she like goes to bed on time, she lays there and tries to get up and talk and all that. But for me, it's like I always want to stay up and talk to my husband and see how things are going throughout the day, his day, and just catch up on a show or whatever. So I need to find a way to go to bed on time, at a decent time, where I can get up at 5 and I can pray and I can meditate and I can reset myself. So that's something I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to continue to strive for. You guys hold me accountable, ask me how I'm doing with that, because Therapy Thursdays is about learning. It's about creating a community where we can all come together and we can all learn from each other. I'm not sitting up here like I know every single thing, like I know the end all be all. I'm just saying that I want us to learn from each other. And so I want us to hold each other accountable. I want us to grow together. I want us to do different things together. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be up here just sitting up here talking. I'm going to be doing different things, from working out to meditating to doing different things for Therapy Thursdays. Sometimes it might just be, me showing a video of how to meditate. And so that will go live at a certain time. So I got a few people joining me. So y'all say, hey, how y'all doing? Please do like and share this video. Therapy Thursdays, continuing the conversation on grief. So, whew, I don't know about y'all, but I definitely feel Fall is definitely here, and it's definitely taking changes. I know a lot of people with allergy issues and things like that have been happening. So that's definitely been something that's been going on. But, nonetheless, we are here and we're going to talk about grief. So last week we talked about grief and we talked about how painful grief was. We talked about how it was hard how by not working through your grief, you can definitely develop symptoms of depression. I mean, you're going to develop that anyway because you're having a hard time adjusting to that change, that huge change of that person or thing not being in your life anymore. And so grief, I wanted to continue the conversation on grief. And, I had my baby Warren Moffitt talking about losing his mother and how he continues to, find different ways to grieve her, how he continues to find different ways to memorialize her, to honor her, to love her, to be connected to her. And so that is a big part of grief. Grief, like I said before, is an ugly, 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 ugly process. It's a process that we don't want to, but as long as we're living on this earth, we are going to grieve. As long as we, are living on this earth, we're going to grieve. We're going to lose loved ones. And so we have to get connected together and don't grieve alone. God sends people in our lives to help us. And I just want to minister to somebody tonight to let you know that you're not in this alone. There's other people that you can lean on, that you can talk to, that you can, do different things to get through it, because grief is a tough thing. You don't know, like, it don't matter if it's the first year the person passed away. It don't matter if the 10th year, it don't matter if the 30th year. We are always moving in grief. We are always not trying to forget the person. We're always moving forward, and we have a lot of people that, definitely try to help tell people, move on, move on. No, like, that person always needs to find a way to connect to the person they lost. They always need to find a way to memorialize them, to connect to them, whether it be, some people, they don't ever let go of the person's clothes. They don't ever let go of the person's belongings. And, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. I feel like we got to take our time to grieve. Just getting rid of things can be tough, because that is your connection to that person. That is how you remember that person. That is how you, saw that person in those clothes. And so sometimes we have to take our time, because in this world, we all feel like, oh, we got to hurry up. We got to hurry up. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to hurry up and speed up the process. Grief is not like that. It's up and down. But the point is, we have to go through it. And I believe that a lot of the grief is fear. A lot of the grief is fear of not knowing what it's going to be like to live without that person, not knowing what it's like to be alone, not knowing what it's like to, move on. And it's not moving on. It's moving forward with that person, memorializing them, remembering them in different ways, having dinners to celebrate their birthdays, doing different things to just show that you memorialize them and you remember them. And the thing is, we want to make sure that when we're grieving and we're going through the process, when we are strong enough, we want to make sure that we are leaving a legacy for that person, that we're memorializing them in a different way. Some people do foundations, some people do businesses in that person's name, some people do different, whatever it is, so that you can connect to that person. Because a lot of times, that physical connection, that laying your eyes on somebody, that seeing them, that touching them, that feeling them is gone. And it's a big hole in your heart. And so I'm not saying that, these things will fill that hole. All I'm saying is these are things that can help you to move forward. And so I want to hear from y'all tonight. What has helped you move forward? What is the hardest part of your grief? What is the hardest part of grieving for you? But like I said, we cannot judge others. We are supposed to be a community of hope. We are, a lot of times, if you don't have anything good to say, just don't say nothing. Just don't even say nothing. Just hug that person, love on them, be there for them. Ask them, we always ask, do you need anything? Do you need anything? But the truth is that some people, they just don't know what they need. They really don't know what they need. They really don't know, what's going to help them. But, if you can kind of think for that person, what is that person like? What do they used to like doing? What it, maybe a night out, maybe a dinner out, getting them out the house, doing different things, buying groceries and things like that definitely help them, because they, sometimes they're grieving. They just really don't know. They don't know what to do. But like I said, we have to continue to move forward. We have to continue to find ways to leave a legacy. I want to share, some verses that really stuck with me, because I feel like we become hopeless when we start to grieve. We become so numb because we don't know how to live. We don't know how to move on, I hate that word, move on. We don't know how to continue moving forward in our lives when we begin to grieve, when we lose someone that we love dearly, that's close to our heart, whether it be grandma, spouse, mother, anybody. We just don't know what that's going to look like. And a lot of times the grief is wrapped up in so many different emotions. We don't even know how to start. We don't even know where to start. But I feel like the first place to start is to let it out, is to continue moving forward. And Lord, help me with that word, continue moving forward and talking about that person, and remembering them in different ways, and watching and looking at videos and looking at pictures every day, and talking to that person in their picture. So there's different ways that we can definitely remember the people that we've lost. And I'm not saying it's an easy process. It is an ugly process. It is unbearable. But what I am telling you guys tonight is that with God, all things are possible. I will say that again. With God, all things are possible. See, grief leaves you hopeless. Grief leaves you feeling like you want to go with that person. Grief leaves you feeling like you don't matter. Grief leaves you feeling like, I don't know how to move on. But what I'm here to tell you is that God can reconcile your heart. God can mend your broken heart. God can help you to begin to live again. God can help you remember that person in different ways. God can help you memorialize that person. God can help you begin to realize that it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Even though that hole is in your heart, even though you're going to have tough days, even though you're going to have days where you just sit in the bed and cry, you're going to also have days where you can get up and smile. And you're going to be appreciative of those days when you can laugh again, when you can talk again, when you can go outside again. So I'm just here to tell you that with God, all things are possible, and you will get through the grief. So there's a verse that I like, that I believe, pertains to grief. It's Romans 5:3-5. More than that, we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through his Holy Spirit, who has been given to us. So, just knowing that in your suffering, you are building your character, and nobody want to hear that. I know nobody want to hear that. I know nobody want to say, like, oh my gosh, am I suffering? Like, I'm building character. Nobody likes that process. But does a diamond like, like a diamond is in the bottom of the earth. And in order to bring out the character, in order to bring out the beauty, in order to bring out the definition, in order to bring out the cuts, in order to bring out the diamond in a way that we can see it, it has to be cut. It has to suffer. It has to have pressure in order to build, in order for us to see it. And so just because you are grieving does not mean that God is done with you. Just because you're grieving does not mean that your life is over. Just because you're grieving does not mean that you will never live again. I'm here to tell you that I've seen people get through grief. I've gotten through grief. I, still have days where, I miss my loved ones. I miss my nana. I miss my aunt that's not here anymore, that died suddenly. but I know that I will see her again. I know that I will see her in heaven. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They're like, no, I want them to be here right now. I don't care about that. I don't want to wait to see them in heaven. But what I'm here to tell you again is that God is a healer, and that God will restore your heart, and that He is close to the ones who are crushed in spirit. And so, again, all I can say about grief is it is a process. It's an ugly process, but day by day you get through it, and day by day you walk through it, and day by day you move forward, and day by day you begin to find ways to memorialize that person. You begin to find ways to not move on, but move forward with them, finding different ways to connect, whether that be a picture, a big old picture, whether that be, celebrating them on their birthday, whatever that is. But I know a lot of people who are on this live tonight that have lost loved ones, and I want to hear from y'all. What have you done? What have you done that has helped you? What has been your prayer as you move through your grief? As you lost, I see a few people, lost mothers and sisters and brothers, and it's definitely a hard thing. But like I said, as long as we're on this earth, we are going to grieve. As long as we're on this earth, then we're going to lose people, and we have to come together. The worst thing you can do when you're grieving is to be isolated. The worst thing you can do when you're grieving is to be alone. And let me tell you something. Don't ever stop talking about that person. Don't ever stop talking about that person. Don't ever stop memorializing that person. And sometimes the grief is so unbearable that, I've sat with people and they can't even talk about the person. All they do is just sit there and cry. And that's okay. And that's okay. And I will be there with that person until they're ready to talk, until they're ready to memorialize them, until they're ready to open their mouth and say that person's name. Some people can't even say the person's name without crying. And I know, like, with consistent work on the grief, it does, begin to get better, But I know there's just painful days that you just can't even imagine. But I do believe that, God does do different things, whether it's a dream about that person, whether it's, some form of peace. I'll never forget, I was just thinking about my nana, and I felt like a piece of just a peace wash over me. And it was like some wind brush over my neck, and I wasn't outside, and I just feel like there are different things that God does that remind you of that person, and to know that they're okay, and that you're gonna be okay. And so, my message tonight was really just to come on here and let you all know that if you are grieving, you will continue to live. You will get through this with the help of God. And if you need someone that's going to listen to you, that's going to sit with you in your grief, that's going to help you with your grief, get you a counselor. I'm here. I'm available. I would love to help you walk through that process, help you go through that process, help you to begin to find ways to memorialize that person. And I'm going to take it one step at a time, because grief is not fast. Grief is finding ways to memorialize the ones that you lost, and being able to move forward, not move on or over, but move forward with the person and finding different ways to connect. So again, that's all I got for tonight. And if I don't have any questions, I'm going to sign off. But, tonight was very brief. And I just want you guys to know that all hope is not lost, that you can continue to live even though you're grieving, even though you're in pain, because of course the enemy, he wants you to stay stuck. He wants you to be depressed. He wants you to not move, not do anything with anything. But you can find purpose in your grief. And I'm not saying find purpose in how they died or anything. The purpose is for you. The purpose is for you to be able to continue to live while remembering that person. Because a lot of times when we lose that person, we don't want to be here anymore. We don't want to imagine life without them. But the truth is, God wants you to live. God wants you to continue living. He wants you to be able to find ways to remember that person that you lost, to be able to find, because this is the thing, y'all. When somebody looks at you, knowing that you lost your mama, your daddy, your baby, whoever, and they see you laughing, they see you smiling, they see you out, they see you driving, they see you moving, trying to continue to live your life and still have that person in your heart. When they see that, they know God is real. So by you moving through your grief, by you moving forward and still connecting to that person that you lost in some kind of way, you are showing everybody that God is real and that God can heal anything and anybody. And I'm not saying that, like I said, every day is going to be great or you're going to be amazing or you're going to, feel amazing every single day. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying every day is going to be happy go lucky. What I am saying is that you will be able to live in your grief. And so, like I said, I appreciate you guys tonight. I appreciate you, Tierra. Thank you so much, Toya. I may have missed this, but what's the most simple, practical step to take to deal with grief? That's a great question. Thank you, Toya, for asking that question to anybody on Instagram. Please do ask questions. But yeah, so the most practical step is to find a way to memorialize the person or connect to the person that you lost. Find a way to connect to the person that you lost. And that could be, like I said, you could release balloons every Friday if you wanted to. It don't matter. Don't let nobody judge you. Don't let nobody sit there and talk about you and say, oh, you should be over it. No, I lost somebody that I loved. It's not easy. I'm not getting over nothing. I will get through it with God and he will help me connect and move forward. But you got to find a way. The first and most practical step is find a way to memorialize that person. Find a way to continue talking about that person. Find a way to continue to connect with that person. The second thing is to find a community. There's all kinds of grieving groups out here. There's all kinds of resources about grief. There's workbooks. There's all kinds of things to help you get through the grief. I think I had somebody on IG. Thank you. I'm grieving my mom all over again. My brother and my dad went and shattered her ashes before her birthday. So grieving my daughter also, especially during stressful times. Yes. So, that's a good point, Bittersweet, that you will have moments, anniversaries of birthdays, deaths, different things that come up in which you have to find ways to get through that day, find ways to connect with people you love or people that remembered that person, and sometimes it's okay to just sit there and cry. But what I don't want you to do is to wallow and just stay there forever. I don't want you to do that. I want you to find ways to connect with that person you lost. And it is the most painful thing we can ever do. But as long as we're living, somebody's going to pass away. And we have to find ways to memorialize them. So that's my biggest tip. And we will, continue to talk about this process and the grieving process and what you need to do. Do I have any other questions? And yeah, definitely, Bittersweet, I think being stress definitely is a trigger for grief. You definitely feel like, oh man, like what would such and such do right now? What would that person that I lost be doing right now? If I'm stressed, how would they help me, get through this time? And I just believe that there's nothing too hard for God. I just believe that there's nothing that he can't do to help us get through this process. And like I said, if you need somebody to help you find ways to memorialize the person you lost, if you need somebody to help you through your grief, I'm here. Inbox me. Definitely contact me, New Vision Therapy and Wellness. Reach out for help. If it's not me, Psychology Today, a grief, grief group. So I will definitely put some resources in the comments below, and I will let you guys know more information. But for right now, I'm signing off, and I will see you guys next Thursday. And y'all have a good night. Love you guys, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in.